Hey, and I've been told I have to do this in English because we have some English speakers or non-Swedish speakers in the audience, and also this is being filmed, I believe, so it's more practical. That's okay with everyone. So I'm not going to talk about the film. There's nothing worse than having your film ruined by somebody telling you what you should be watching or what you should be experiencing. It's a good film. But I'm actually going to talk about toilets. And maybe some of you know a little bit about the background of the film. And toilets is a very funny subject. In some parts of the English-speaking world, you can't even use the word toilet. When I made my book, Soft City, which is about the human dimension in urban planning, I wanted to have a little chapter about toilets. Because I thought toilets, public toilets, are part of public infrastructure, just like a sidewalk, just like a crossing. But my American publisher felt very uncomfortable with the subject. And so the 5 or 6 pages about public toilets was removed from the book. But the book, and maybe there are other parts of the book, are about quite boring things, because if you may imagine, urbanism or city building is a very exciting architectural subject. Most of it's quite banal. It's about everyday life, about crossing the street, waiting for the bus, hanging out washing, and maybe sleeping with an open window. And maybe that's a little bit what you see on the cover of the book. And I'm a little bit proud, if I show off for a moment, the Japanese version of the book. The book's actually now used in Japanese high schools. But getting back to the subject of the forbidden subject of toilet, and I think it's also a little bit interesting, because I'm Scottish, live in Sweden. And for me, I see huge parallels between Japan and Sweden. One of the most obvious things, which we all know, what do you do when you go inside a Japanese house that you do when you go inside a Swedish house? You take off your shoes. And this is maybe something at a very deep level about cleanliness, and cleanliness being beautiful, about respect. Maybe something very sensual, where suddenly everybody's in there just wearing their socks. And so I'm very fascinated by all those kind of connections. But I guess when you think of Japanese toilets, people have heard, if you've not been there, about these funny toilets with all kinds of extra functions that let you take care of your needs without touching anything. And it's, this technology has been around for about the last 30 years. And some interesting little, this thing, you may have heard about this little thing. But what's interesting, along with that cleanliness function, there are many other functions that go along with it. And you can see there's you can want to read in front, but the privacy one is particularly interesting, because you can press the button and you get background noise, maybe like waterfalls or something, to help you relax a little bit, but also so nobody else hears what's going on. And this is touching on actually an extreme sensitivity about a subject which maybe even those who are not Japanese do feel that sensitivity. Like, when you're doing your business, that you're protected, all of the senses are protected, not just like there's a door, but there's actually a wall of sound as well protecting you. So it's a very much kind of multi-sensory experience, also the fact that this toilet actually touches you. So it's a multi-sensory thing, which again is very much about the human dimension. And on that theme, there's also an important theme in Japan about universal access. The idea that it should be comfortable for everyone to be able to go, regardless of your physical abilities. And when you go to a Japanese toilet, you'll find all kinds of little details. Like here, there's a little place to hang up your walking stick for older people. Or if you go, and this is in the men's toilet, there's actually a baby chair. So you can park your baby while you do your business. And all kinds of instructions for that. And then also maybe a recognition that people come in different sizes. And that's also part of the design of the public toilet. And this was on, motorway service stations, on the rastställe, which make me the worst. This was in a motorway service station on the motorway in Japan. And this is the children's toilet, boys' side. And you can see everything in miniature, as well as some decoration, even some toys to distract the children. And this is in a really, you think of like a motorway service station being one of the worst places normally for a toilet. All sorts of other kind of little detail. You can see this. One step forward, please. These men think their aim is really good, but we don't want to be cleaning up that mess, so just get a little bit closer. And so that kind of thoughtfulness in terms of nudging behaviour, making people feel comfortable. And maybe one of the most important places for public toilets, and I've learned this in planning, is for children, especially younger children, when they're going from wearing diapers, wearing nappies, and going without. The need of having a nice, clean public toilet close at hand is very important, and a great boon to parents. And this is at a playground near Osaka, and there's this hillside which kids are playing, but underneath the hillside there is this fantastic cave, and inside here this is the very nice, clean, very well equipped universal toilet at the playground, because that's very important for families going there, that kind of support. So this recognition that toilets are important, they discovered maybe about 10, 15 years ago, people started making guidebooks about toilets because people wanted to use these more technological toilets, the one with the privacy noise. And so they started making guidebooks. So the city planners became aware that actually this shouldn't be the exception, this should be the standard. And that was the background to a project in Shinjuku in Tokyo, where they actually brought in famous architects to start designing really nice toilets. And what do you associate with a public toilet? It's kind of dark, maybe a bit damp, maybe a bit dirty, maybe not very nicely designed. It's not, and at the same time recognizing that this most sensitive of activities that you have to do should be done in maybe the worst possible place. So can we reverse this? So as a prestigious architectural project, they invited architects to start designing really architectural toilets, thinking about what would invite people. So just seeing some examples of here, and you'll see these in the film, this is the very architectural plan. You can see the men's side and ladies' side and the universal toilet in the middle. You can see the glorious concrete work, the discreet lighting, the thoughtfulness about some of the design. You can see the way the pipes have been boxed in to make it easy to clean, but making a public toilet experience quite pleasant. And you can see also the handrail. This is for old men standing at the urinal. And this kind of amazing sort of qualities which we're not used to. There's another one here. Different architects, they chose different themes. This one's much lighter. A little courtyard or a little tree. Again, not something you associate that, a toilet having a little patio in the middle of the toilets. Even a little bench outside. There's a smoker's bench, so you can actually sort of have your cigarette and sitting there while you're waiting. But again, just this surprising thoughtfulness about the architecture of a public toilet. And then playing on the theme of colour, bright red. Our post box in Japan are bright red, like in the UK, to make them easy to find. So maybe the toilet should be bright red as well, easy to find. So a toilet block, easy to find with this kind of very simple architecture, and inside I'm playing on colour and architecture, and you make your own interpretation of it. I think this will be the last one. There are probably about 12 of these installations. If you're interested, I've got a book, the book of the project, which also refers to the film. Just this kind of idea of light and clean and a fresh place in the middle of the city to do your business. And then there's the business of cleaning, and I suppose you know a little bit of the film already. It's about a guy who cleans toilets. I've been really, 15 years ago, I met the real man. And I have a picture of him somewhere, and I've gone through about 200,000 images in the last few days, and I can't find it. But what is really amazing is this unbelievable thoroughness and pride in doing your job in supporting this vital piece of infrastructure. There are more things to discover in the film. I don't think it's my job to talk about the film. I think you interpret that yourself. But this bit gives you a little bit of background into the Japanese and their care about taking care of this very important function. So enjoy the film. Thank you.